Hi guys, Glenn here. My voice might not sound so pleasant because I'm still sick um, from the cold. Yeah, that's what it's like in Canada right now. Um, yeah, sorry about the voice, but I'll try my best to sound pleasing. So we just finished this war, almost a perfect war. And I just want to go through the mindset of an attack, what I look for in a base, and how a base could be LaLoon, one of my favorite attacks, and an attack that I've used a lot because that's where I started from. I had an account that I rushed to Town Hall 10, and for like one whole year, all he did, because that's all he had dragons maxed, lava loons maxed, level 2 at that time, and maxed loons. And all I did was penta loon, quad loon, 2 hounds and loons. And it was how I started to learn loon and what I'm supposed to look in a base when I'm doing a loon. So I'm not perfect, and this base I have to say wasn't a great base design to stop loon, so it was easy. But still, just to give you some ideas about like what I'm looking for in a base, and what I'm thinking about. So first of all, I you probably can't 3-star any of these bases if I didn't have a scout. And our leader here, Sahil, probably not pronouncing his name right, but he goes ahead and hits his base, and we'll watch it, and then I'll just sort of point out what I noticed and the things that I pick up, because I usually watch a replay at least 5 to 10 times before I make the decision to copy that attack or do something very similar or take advantage of that base somehow differently. So let's play it out. Let's see. Before we start, no, okay, we'll just play the thing, and then I'll just point out the things that I noticed. So I'm gonna be able to draw things, which is really cool with this app. So he goes in. He actually did something very similar to my first idea for this base, which is to wall break in. Now the wizard tower does do a splash damage and kill the wall breakers there, but he does basically get into the queen compartment and the air defense compartment, taking one air defense out and one queen out, and that leaves 3 air defenses, and that gives a perfect pathing for loons to travel one direction instead of going everywhere around the map. So he's basically starting from the right, and he is pushing in. Now the problem, I believe, was here, where it was a great idea to push in with the hounds, tie up the inferno for temporarily, and then get the loons just enough health and time to take the first inferno out, which is great. No freeze needed for the first one. That's great. And then the problem was the double poison was a little bit late, but the double poison couldn't have worked in this case because of the fact that the air defense is so far away from the first one to the second one. So here to here, it's just too far away. If the hounds leave, the dragons may have followed maybe up to this point, and they started to notice that there's these loons falling, staying behind, and the dragons might have given up with the hounds and then continued chasing after all of the loons here, and then basically the hound would be going way ahead, and all these loons that are coming later are going to be taken out by the CC drags. Now he obviously didn't know what was in the CC, and he couldn't have planned this out perfectly as I did. So it's not really his fault for not getting the 3-star in his first attempt. Let's just keep playing it. So what happens is the dragons fall behind. They ignore the hound and start noticing that there are balloons behind, so they start taking them out. Notice that even with the first poison, the dragons are still pretty much full health. So yeah, those dragons pretty much stay up and ruin this entire raid. Um, the way the loons came in for the second inferno didn't really help either because of the freeze. Um, so another thing I noticed with this base from scouting from this replay is that he's got a hound left, and he used 4 hounds, 1 max, and 3 of his own. He's got 1 hound with about half of his life, and I'm wondering why that is. One of the reason is because the air defenses went down really quickly, and when I'm showing my replay, I'll talk about sort of the things that I'm looking for in a LaLoonable base and why this worked. And another reason was because the seeking air mines were all in the center by the Tesla, so it was sort of like, you know, this guy whoever built it probably planned this so that dragons or loons trying to get to the for the 2 star on the town hall would not be able to get it, so he put all the traps there. So that's why the hounds has so much life left, and so even with 4 hounds, one of them doesn't even pop till the very end. So I will play my replay, but I'll just go through sort of what I was looking for and why I decided to do it the way I did it. So let's take a look. If we take a look, the the key thing about LaLoon is obviously where the air defenses are placed and how you're gonna take them out. So let's just go through some of the reasons why LaLoon is perfect for this base. One, expo grounded. So these are not even in the game basically. Ignore all of the ground targeting defenses because they're not going to be doing anything. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this so that you can see. So now you're left with not a lot. There isn't a lot. Like there is some here, right? There's some here that's going to be a threat. There are those Teslas that you saw earlier, and there's this here. See, I'm just looking at the threats that are going to threaten my LaLoon, and these are basically it. What's circled, the Tesla farm, the core, and what's there. So what I'm thinking about is the weakest point of this base is definitely here, and I'll show you why. It's because when you look at where the sweeper is, this is where the sweeper is here. So if you were to put loons here, there is a slight chance that you might not get a CC lure if you're trying to pull the CC and try to take out one of the air defenses. I mean, you will pull the CC, but what could happen even with a haste is the loons go in, get blown by the sweeper, and they could end up here and then go to the wizard tower, not taking down the air defense. So that's why I actually do this from this side first, and you will see what I mean by that. And another reason I did it is because the sweeper on this side is facing that way. That sweeper is actually very useless the way I hit this base, and I actually go from LaLoon here around the base like this, so a little bit different than the first attacker, and you'll see why. Let's try to speed things up. So another thing about this base, the reason why that the lava hounds were staying up so much in the first attack that you saw was because if you look at the pathing, the defense is here and the air defense is right behind it. So if you haste it right here, those loons are going to take out the archer tower and then the air defense in like 2-3 seconds tops. The hounds are not going to get hit that much. So what I do differently is I bring a whole lot of loons because they're going to be the offense that takes out defense, and the hound does pretty much nothing. It tanks for me briefly throughout the whole raid, but you'll see that the hounds don't do a lot. They don't tank for the inferno. They don't do a lot, but you'll see how I still use them to save my loons in certain areas, and how I use the 33 loons to just overwhelm this base, which don't have a lot of air traps or air attacking things. Okay, I don't think I'm making any sense right now, but we will just play this now. Alright, so what I do is, what do? I haste, push 6 loons into the archer tower, no sweeper bothering me, so 100% is going to go to the air defense. Now, I was hoping that 6 balloons would be able to take out the wizard tower, and it does. And bonus, they actually split on me and get the defense on the other side too. So it was a great trade-off. 6 balloons for what, like 6 defenses? No, 4 defenses and 2 trash buildings. Great. And a CC lure. And here what you see differently that I do from my other raids is I don't bring a poison, and I kill the dragon just using couple of barbs and queen. Now if I had about 7-8 barbarians, I could have done that without even popping my queen's ability. I promise you I've done this enough to know. And what I do here that's weird, and you think, that's not, traditional LaLoon, and you shouldn't do that, is I just send like 15, 16 balloons in that air sweeper and towards that inferno, because I know they're gonna path there, or at least to the expo, and then the bigger group are gonna go to the inferno. But I don't drop my hound until I drop 15 balloons first, hasted. And you're gonna see what they're gonna do. They're just gonna run right into it. So notice that I don't bring a freeze for that first inferno, and I just have just loads of balloons coming on top of it. And what you're gonna see here is that after taking that out, these, whatever that's remaining, the reason why I sent so many is because they're gonna just go ahead and come this way and take all of these ground defenses out. And I knew that I just need about that many loons, and they will take out the inferno and go ahead and take out maybe 1 or 2 Teslas in the core, but I was okay with them dying by around here. Because now I just have to worry about this whole section, which I have a lot of loons for. I have 15 loons and 3 hounds, and I got a lot of spells for all of that. So yeah, you're gonna see how that works. So 3 hounds come in. I got the loons coming in. Notice that I start this whole thing, and the reason why I did it from where the king and queen CC kill happened was so that I was sure to have my king and queen alive. Now, actually, my king's dead, but my queen alive, or maybe my king's alive, I don't know. But my queen alive so that she can continue on cleaning from the side that has no defenses to target her, and she's free to start cleaning. Yeah, cleaning the base. I come in with the loons hasted. Notice that I haste there specifically because I know that I only have 3 hounds to work with. And notice that, look, I just took out 2 air defenses. I have 3 hounds, and look how much health they have. Yeah, they're like almost full. It's because of how exposed that air defense is and how stupid this guy put the defense there so that my loons would go right to the air defense. 1 trip and the next. Now you're going to see here my second drop for the loons for the second air defense is a little bit late. The reason for it is I need the group of loons that are coming in from here to join up there, and that's why I sort of wait on this one. But I do come in, so I am, see, LaLoon is all about timing. You need to get this timing right, where you're trying to see where your loons are, how slow and fast they need to be at certain points. And I don't even need a haste here. Actually, this haste was actually planned for here and the raise here, but I just did it wrong. But that's okay. Sometimes you don't do it according to plan because you panic, but fine. Notice that because I calculated things and it was the right calculation, I believe. 3 hounds do all pop. I still have bunch of pops left, loons, and I have enough stuff to take care of the Teslas in the core. The Skellies, after seeing the replay a few times, I may have not needed the 2 Skellies. It was meant obviously for the queen kill. And also the freeze at the end I didn't talk about was timed so that just before the loons get to the Inferno, like 1 second before the Inferno starts targeting my loons, I drop my freeze there. So the timing there also has to be perfect so that my loons don't die and do take out the Inferno. So that's sort of the reasoning behind how I did this attack, and just yeah, just hearing from me why I did it the way I did it. Thanks for watching. Bye.